Howdy folks, it's Richardgene the fishing machine right here again. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to do a little bank fishing. We got a small window of opportunity this morning, so we're going to do a little crappie, and I can't help it. I go fishing when I can because it's good for me, and it's good for you too. Here, I'm going to show you another thing that I do in the springtime. Not only is this a fun way to fish, but it's an effective way to fish. It's a great way to find crappie. Okay, what I'm doing right here is the same cork that I use for minnows. In my last two previous videos about minnow fishing off the bank, it's a small float. You can see how small it is. I'm using a 1/32 ounce jig head tied with a loop knot, 4-pound test line, and I'm probably going to start off with one of my favorites, and that's a Bobby Garland Pink Phantom. Okay, I'm probably going to be fishing about 2.5 feet deep because I'm going to be fishing over about 4 to 5 feet. That's normally the range that I start off with. And that's really just basic way to fish right here. I love using this light jig. And also, if you'll notice right here on my float, I've turned the bobber stop right reverse from the way you're supposed to. And the reason why is when I twitch this jig, okay, this jig is going to be at an angle. It'll come back in a vertical position under the float. And that little extra weight, believe it or not, by me twitching it, will cause the jig to act more natural. Okay, in my opinion. All right, I'm using an old reel. I want you to check this reel out. It's called a record reel. It is old, but I've cleaned it up and it just works perfectly. Okay, let's go try this. I got a couple hours to fish, but I'm going to fish hard and get in tune with nature. See you on the water.
There he is. There's a fish. That's a good crappie right here. Good crappie. Stretching that string. That's what it's all about, folks. From the bank or not. That's a big black crappie, and I mean a big one. Let's get him in right here. And I'm going to show you how I'm working this little bait right here to make these fish bite. There he is. Now, I don't have my measuring stick, and that's unfortunate, but I'm going to say this fish is about 15 inches long. You can see that the camera tricky, but you can see that jig is not much smaller than his eye. That's a big crappie. Big male. Okay. Let's let him go so he can complete his spawn. That's what it's all about. Okay. There he is. There's a fish. You talking about? That's a bass, so he hit way out there. That's what's fun about walking these banks. You're liable to catch anything. This time of year, bass, catfish, big bluegill. You might pick up a stray shell cracker, stripe. I mean, the list goes on and on. Anything that hit a jig. Little largemouth, about 12 inches long. Let's let him go. He's not our target species, but he's a fish. You know, we're fishing. These bank videos, I've had a lot of requests to do some more. It's a great way to fish. You have a lot of mobility. I mean, I have a lot of mobility. I have a little fishing jacket on. Baits are in my pocket. All I have to do is walk down these banks and find these fish. Hunt and search. And you have a bank, fishing from the bank, and from a boat. There's a lot of difference. You have a lot of control in your bait. You can really focus a little bit more, to tell you the truth. You don't have the wind to combat boat waves and things of this nature. So it's a good way to fish, especially this technique I'm using. In my opinion, this time of year is second to none. That's just an opinion. Let's catch another one. Oh my goodness, what a fish. We'll take our time with this because this is a big crappie right here. Big fish, folks. I changed rip routes. Let's take our time. This is a slab. Gunnersville slab. And I'm going to explain to y'all in this segment exactly what I'm doing to catch fish of this size. Now, that other fish I said was about 15 inches. This one right here, God, I wished I had my measuring tape with me, board. This one right here is going to go 16 and a half. This is a huge fish. Okay. It's so huge. Now I want you to look what a fish right here. That's a big crappie. Let me hold him up here. That's the kind of fish that I'm after right here. Huge. Compare him to, say, my crappie jig. Alright. Let's let him go. Oh my goodness. That's got to be a crappie. That float went under so slow. Let's see if that size hook will hold. Yeah, it'll hold. I bend the hook up slightly to give it more of a bite. That old reel's having a hard time. That's why I like using these old reels. They don't have any power. That's another good fish. It's a black crappie. Real tight to the rocks. Okay, this is fish number 3. Let's check that fish out. Right here. Fish number 3. That fish there is close to 15 inches. 15 and a half. Them are huge crappie. That's 3 huge crappie I've caught today so far. I tell you what, that's a beautiful fish right there. And this technique I'm using is unique. No doubt unique. And I want to share this with y'all. You might say I live on the river. Let me let this fish go. Let's let her swim off. See, that makes me feel good. And she can complete her spawn. That's very important to me. I'm a conservationist, but I do believe they're made to eat. There's nothing wrong with eating crappie. There's plenty of them. They're delicious. But if you don't need them, or if you have some in the freezer, let them go, especially this time of year. That's just an opinion. All right, let's catch another one. Yeah. Golly bum. Talking about fighting. This is a good fish right here, folks. As far as crappie goes, this is about I'm going to say about 11-inch crappie, but he looks small compared to them 3 I just caught. This is not a slab. They got to be about 15, 16 inches before I consider them a slab, but that's a good fish. Let's let her go. That's a female. She's light colored. Let her complete her spawn. Let her make some more crappie so that we can catch a slab every once in a while. Let me make another cast right there in that area. There seems to be several right in there, real tight to the rocks. I'm fishing about 2 feet deep, right on the outside edge of those rocks. Okay, fishing real slow, barely moving that jig. We're not in no hurry. All that fish has to do is see that jig wiggling just a little bit. She don't have any other recourse, okay? But to open her mouth, flare them gills, and then hail that jig in. That's what it's all about. There she is. There she is. That float went under so quick. Usually they just take that float under real slow. That was an aggressive bite. That means there's several crappie over there when they do that. There's some competition going on when that float goes under that hard and quick. Okay, there she is. 4-pound test line, loop knot, okay, and a Bobby Garland jig, pink phantom. That's becoming my favorite color. That's about 11.5, 12-inch crappie. It's a good quality fish. Let's let her go. Let her make some babies. All right, let's pitch back to the same location and let's catch another one. Bloop. There we go. Tied into another crappie. Now I don't set a hook very hard on these crappie. If y'all noticed that, I just sort of lift my rod tip. And here's a big fish right here, another slab. I'm going to show y'all something after I release this fish. There's a gizzard shad following that crappie for some reason. I don't know if that camera picked it up or not, but if the sun was out, it surely would have. But there's another crappie. That one's about 12.5, 13. I'm going to say 13 inches or a little better. I wished I brought my scale, but now I'm been a cartoner all my life, so I'm pretty well tell you. Get this hook out. Ooh, that's a tough part of the mouth right there, and I don't want to hurt this fish. There it comes. There she is. Another female, and that's a good fish. Let's let her go. But let me show y'all something real quick. Now, I'm going to lay this float down, okay, out here beyond the rocks a little bit. Now this jig is light. It's lighter than a 1/64th, the way I have it rigged up. Now, this is how I'm catching them. If you can see the float, twitch, 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 and then I let the jig settle under the float, straight down. And I might drag it just a little bit, little bitty movements like that, because I'm wanting that tail, I hope you can see that jig, to do that. See how flexible that tail is? And see how that jig is at a horizontal angle, just like a little minnow swims. That's the reason for the light jig in shallow water. I just wanted to throw that at y'all a little bit.
Well, we're back. Elmo walked. Just as I was about to leave, I'm fixing to have to go to work, but he walked up on the bank where I was fishing. Just right when I had to leave, he missed it again. But I tell you, you got to admit, them was some good crappie. Caught them real quick, had fun. Remember, go fishing when you can. Good food.